Today I'm going to be going over how to make roughly 10 divines per hour by farming and creating test of time Barrias at the Trials of Sekhmet. So for those who don't know, a test of time Barria is essentially a Barria that you place in the Relic altar at the Trial of Sekhmet, and it places you on the final floor of the Trial of Sekhmet. Now these are very valuable and sought after by players who farm for the Temporalis, as well as by players who sell carries, because it allows them to skip the first 3 floors of the trial and essentially make more profit per hour. Farming and creating these keys is a great method to make some starting currency on a character, because it is relatively cheap investment cost with sort of a high investment cost on the high end of these if you want to make even more profit. But just to start out, there is very little investment cost at all. In fact, all you need is a very simple build. It could be a number of builds, a whirling slash build, for example. It could be a thorns build. It could be a lightning spear build. You just need to be able to get to the 4th floor of the Trials of Sekhmet, and that is about it. All you need are these Jinbarias. You can go on trade. I will show you guys real quick on trade. These Jinbarias, you can buy these for 1 exalted a piece if you don't have any, or you can farm them for maps. But the way that you look for and buy these is you are going to sort by exalted orbs on the trade site. This will show you all the listings for an exalted orb. Chances are the cheaper listings won't respond to you. And then you'll go over here to the side where it says exact price, and you will click the list date. This will sort by all recent listings so that you're not messaging players who may not typically respond to you. So for example, 6 minutes ago, there were a few listed for 1 exalted. I just bought a few of these. I will show you guys in game. I just bought a few of these, and I paid 2 exalted a piece. I bought 3 of them for a total of 6 exalted, right? So it's a very low investment cost. I will go into the setup for this, what you're going to look for in terms of relics, how you can maximize profit per hour, because there are additional ways other than just selling the test of times that you can make money throughout this process, right? Just to show you guys the value of a test of time, test of times at the moment go for a minimum of 2 divines. 1 divine right now is 17 chaos orbs. The minimum listing is 34 chaos orbs, and from there they are 2 divines apiece. Sometimes these go for 3 divines. Most likely, most people are not going to pay more than 3 divines because when they're selling carries, they only make a maximum of around 5 divines per run, and so they have to consider their own profits as well. But some people will pay up to 3 divines, 45 chaos. Some of these sell. Like I said, I will go into the relic setup, the overall setup of this sort of farming strategy, and hopefully you guys are able to make some currency as well along the way. I've had a lot of people stop in my stream and mention that they have started running and making these, and they are making, the best money they've ever made before. And so hopefully you guys can as well. You can learn a little bit something, and yeah. So to get into this, I do recommend a number of different builds that you could use. It's all down to preference. It's whatever you enjoy. You just want a build that's able to get to the last floor, the test of time floor, obviously. And it could be a lightning spear build. It could be a whirling slash build. It could be a thorns build. Again, it's whatever you enjoy. You just want to make sure that your character has enough damage to kill the bosses for the first 3 floors without taking much damage. Personally, I prefer evasion setups. There is an evasion body armor that makes farming these keys relatively easy, which is the Gil's Ear. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but it is a very good chest piece that helps you avoid all hits through evasion. Another thing, I do recommend block chance and evasion setups for this as a whole. The reason being is that evasion prevents honor loss in the event that you would have normally taken damage. So if you stack at least 80% evasion with 20% block chance, you will rarely ever lose honor in the trials. And if you do, and you have honor resistance, it will be very, very little honor lost. And you will be able to easily fix honor, especially if you're not stacking energy shield. If you try to do this and you try to farm the trials with energy shield alone, you will lose lots of honor along the way, and you will struggle to restore or fix your honor throughout the key. One of the big things when you're selling these, it doesn't really matter what they have on them. There are obvious modifiers that you want to prioritize over other modifiers in terms of relics for your own sake and for the people's sake who are buying these, which again I'll get into. But overall, the number one thing is that you want to get to the final floor with as much honor on the key as possible. people will not buy these keys from you if they buy one from you and it's bricked. And these keys brick if you have lost significant honor. So if you're an energy shield build with 10,000 honor normally and you lost 5,000 honor, chances are a player such as myself who buys the key will walk inside the trials and instantly die. And the reason why is that I would normally only have 3,000 honor. Honor does not transfer percentage-wise, it transfers number-wise. So if you lost 5,000 honor, I will also lose 5,000 honor. I will die, I will lose the key. I will be very mad as the person buying it from you, and chances are I will not buy them again. With that being said, we'll go into relics. Relic setups that you can sort of look after or prioritize. Personally, and this is in everyone's best interest, you always want quantity of relics dropped by monsters on the key. The reason being that quantity of relics dropped by monsters increases the drop rate of the vase relic as well as the incense relic from Xerox, which are worth 3 divines as well as around 800 divines each. So a lot of players, when they're buying these tested times, are only going to buy ones with quantity of relics on them. If I go to the trade website, you will actually see that for the tested times, there are many Barias with significant honor resistance on them and no quantity of relics on them, and that is why they sit on the trade site for a very long time and they do not sell. It's hard to show you guys an example right now. There is a player whose name is Brian something. For example, his tested times have 300% honor resistance on them and nothing else. Honor resistance has a cap at around 75%, and so anything above that and you were just kind of screwing yourself in the sense that you could get more valuable modifiers on your relics as a whole to assist in your runs, right? So quantity of relics is the #1 important relic that you want. On top of quantity of relics, for your own sake, as the person creating these keys, you want movement speed. You don't need a whole lot. These can get very expensive. If I price check this 814, as you can see, it is around 5 divines. But you can buy ones with less movement speed on them for 1 Chaos Orb, 10 Exalted Orbs, 5 Chaos Orbs, making the overall total investment for relics around 1 divine. So quantity of relics and movement speed are very nice. The more movement speed you have, the more of these you'll be able to complete per hour. My personal setup has around 70% movement speed on it. I bought these towards the start of the league. I personally would not pay 5 or 10 divines for these unless I planned on making hundreds of them, right? Because at that point it would be worth it. But otherwise, you know, I really wouldn't spend too much money on movement speed. You want a little bit to assist in making the runs quicker, making your life easier, but you don't want too much to the point where the investment cost is incredibly high. Another modifier that you probably want on your keys is honor resistance. Honor resistance allows you to be a bit more lazy, make more mistakes, not really worry too much about certain situations because at the end of the day, you are just chilling, right? So I run around 66% honor resistance, 70% movement speed, and 100% quantity of relics dropped. The highest quantity of relics dropped that you can have on a key is 180%, which is 20% on each relic. You can ideally, if you want to have no movement speed at all, you can also just stack 20% of quantity of relics dropped by monsters on every single one of these relics. If we come here, and I will show you guys, we will price check what that looks like without movement speed, so just 20% quantity of relics, price checks for 5 chaos. So it is relatively expensive to just buy 20% quant, but you could also buy 19%. There is a boon that you can get throughout the trials called Enchanted Urn, which will multiply and magnify the effect of your relics by, I believe, 30%. So you don't actually need 180% quantity if you get Enchanted Urn to maximize the value of quantity of relics dropped. You can have closer to, I believe it's around 156%, but I don't have the exact numbers on the top of my head. So again, honor resistance, movement speed, quantity of relics, very important. There are additional relics that you could look into using if you need them or if you would like them, such as bosses take % increased damage, can be very helpful if you personally struggle to kill the boss. These also sell pretty nicely sometimes because sometimes people buying these keys can't necessarily carry 5 people at once, and so they'll look for bosses take increased damage to make their lives easier so that they can carry 5 people to increase more profit for themselves, right? Another valuable modifier for relics, if you're running an evasion setup specifically, is percent increased defenses. For example, I have around 85% evasion, but with 100% increased defenses, I'm at around 92-93% evasion, which, as the person buying the key, is just phenomenal because I can just AFK on the final floor. I don't have to worry about anything. I can literally just run around and I never get hit by anything, especially with block chance, right? So we're chilling. Just to show you guys right here, my Lightning Spear DPS is not very high with this setup. It's around 48,000. There are several builds in the game that can reach several 100,000 Lightning Spear DPS. And even then, this is with my not normal setup. Normally, I run Lacerate and First Blood on a Blood Mage personally. And so what that looks like for me is like 20,000 Lightning Spear DPS, right? So again, your DPS doesn't really matter that much. The first 3 floors are relatively easy. If you struggle, you can adjust accordingly. You can adjust your relics. You can take movement speed off. You can put more honor resistance on. I would stay away from maximum honor, maximum life. There are additional setups for relics. You can do merchant setups is one thing that a lot of people love to run. Merchant setups are essentially setups that it's a relic that gives merchants additional options and another relic that reduces the cost of merchant options. And what that translates into is being able to infinitely buy, modifiers from the merchant throughout the run to make, selling the keys a bit easier as well. But I won't get into all those setups. Again, we're just me going over quantity, movement speed, etc. relics. Now, again, what I'm about to do, the run that I'm about to run may not look the same as yours overall because you may not have as much movement speed. But again, try to prioritize at least 100% quantity of relics for the sake of whoever's buying the key. They will sell a lot better because that's what people primarily look for. Movement speed doesn't really matter when you're selling the key, but when you're making them, again, it's going to make your life a lot easier and a lot nicer. And then honor resistance, again, just allows you to relax a little bit. You don't have to worry about taking damage because you won't take nearly as much damage, which I'll show you guys in a minute here. But yeah, once you have your relic set up, you can start beginning the process of farming these tests of times. It's relatively simple. I can personally make around 6 of these an hour if I really try, which is 12 divines an hour because I can sell these for 2 divines. Personally, I run them all. One strategy is to run like 10 different Barrias to the second floor and then run those to the third floor all at once. That is what one of my friends who does this does. So again, there's no like definitive strategy for this. It's whatever you enjoy, whatever works best for you. I'm just trying to give you guys some advice in terms of relic setup, how to make your life easier, how to maximize profit per hour. So again, you go to trade, you buy these Barrias, you get a relic setup. It's relatively cheap investment, around 1 divine. You can do this with almost any character in the game, although I would highly recommend an evasion setup, which I will show you guys why that is. I personally don't believe the energy shield is that good overall in the game. I ran energy shield earlier in the league. I ran evasion energy shield setups on an attribute stacker, and I ran around a 20,000 energy shield setup on a lich build. And energy shield can be very deceiving. It makes you look or feel tanky, but the reality is you get hit by everything and anything. And yeah, it's very punishing, especially in the trials. You lose honor, and like I said, it can be very difficult to restore that honor. So yeah, without further ado, we will hop into the trial. We will confirm. Again, there are 3 floors, and on every floor there are different rooms to the trials, right? So there's hourglass rooms, there are chalice rooms, gauntlet rooms, and ritual rooms. Gauntlet rooms are essentially trap rooms. You have to avoid traps on the floor, dodge some monsters, pull some levers. They're pretty complicated for the first 3 floors, but you'll get used to them after a while. Hourglass rooms are basically just survive a set of waves, which we got right away. As you can see right here, it says survive until the timer expires. You'll never actually know what the first room is for the trials. This is an hourglass room until you step inside. It's always random, and so is the layout as you go. But again, we will go through this, and basically, we're just trying to be as quick as possible, right? So right here, we're just going to kill these monsters. The way that hourglass rooms work is that you have to kill a certain amount of white monsters in order for rares to spawn, and then once rares start spawning, you have to kill the existing rare in order to spawn new rares, and every time you kill a rare monster, additional rares will spawn, and time will be shaved off of the clock. So as you saw, I killed that rare, another one spawned right here, and 15 seconds is shaved off the clock, right? So we finished the hourglass room. We grab the Sacred Water. Sacred Water is important. It will allow you to buy boons from the merchant or restore honor throughout the run. Now, a lot of people ask about afflictions and boons on a key. And when you're looking at boons for a key, especially one that you're looking to sell or complete yourself later on, afflictions and boons don't really matter. If you're running an evasion setup, you want to avoid a few things. You want to avoid iron manacles, first of all, and then overall as well, you want to try to avoid 3 modifiers, which are Spike Shell, Blunt Sword, and Enfeeble. The combination of those 3 modifiers can make whoever is buying the key have a very rough time killing the boss, and so you want to avoid combining those 3 modifiers together. So for example, this second room here, Gauntlet Trial, gives us Spike Shell. We definitely don't want that. It's going to make everything in the trials tankier, including the bosses, so we will stay away from Spike Shell. Another modifier to stay away from is Reduced Honor Restored, or cannot restore honor until the end of a floor. The reason why you want to avoid that modifier, again, is because it's going to make restoring honor more difficult should you take damage. As you can see, I only have around 2,900 honor, 2,851. And honor shrines restore around 600 honor, and greater honor shrines that also afflict you with an affliction restore around 1,300 honor. So on the chance that I do take damage, I don't take too much because of my honor resistance and the fact that I'm res capped. Not too sure. I think we need to put this ring on to res cap actually. But yeah, we are chilling. So again, right off the bat, Spike Shell up there, and up here we have Blunt Sword, which causes us to deal less damage, right? So we want to avoid Blunt Sword as well. But other than that, you want to, at least early in the trials, path towards Sacred Water. Down here you can see Iron Manacles. You have no evasion. We want to avoid that. Should you accidentally get one of these afflictions, you can always try to remove them with the Pledge of Coachi, which is basically a shrine that you interact with, and it has unpredictable outcomes. Sometimes it will restore honor, but there's always a downside to every upside. So sometimes it'll give you a good boon, sometimes it'll give you a bad affliction or help you remove a bad affliction, right? Another thing that you really want to look for early is Hairfoot, especially from a merchant. Hairfoot gives you 40% increased movement speed. If you're able to get Hairfoot onto your key, you will be having a good time. But with that being said, the rest of these don't really matter. We already have seen Spike Shell, Iron Manacles, and Blunt Sword right off the bat. So even if we take Deceptive Mirror down here, you are not always taken to the room you select. The worst that Deceptive Mirror can really do is that you just get a room that you don't necessarily want to do. Might be a more difficult room. You can also get kind of screwed because if you're trying to go to an honor shrine to restore honor, sometimes it'll take you away from there. But again, because we've already seen like the 3 bad afflictions right off the bat and we're going away from them, chances are we probably won't see them again through this trial. So we'll just go Chalice Trial. It doesn't really matter which trials you prefer doing. Hourglass trials, in my opinion, can take a bit longer. Chalice trials on the earlier floors can be a little bit quicker, as well as escape rooms can be a little bit longer. It kind of depends, but they're usually not too bad. And then gauntlet rooms on the first 3 floors, for some reason, are just, they're not difficult, but they're a lot longer and harder than they are on the last floor, right? We don't need to restore honor, so we don't have to interact with that. Instead, we can come up here, escape trial. Normally, when I'm creating these keys, because my character and my build is at a point where it doesn't really matter what boons and afflictions I have, as long as I have quantity of relics on the key, normally what I do is I just click rooms and I go, right? And I just make sure I don't end up getting Iron Manacles. Even if I do, it's usually not too bad. But for the most part, we just keep running, and we go, right? Because you're trying to complete or make as many of these as you can per hour to maximize profits. So we go, we collect the keys, we keep going. This honor shrine right here grants us a boon, so we'll take that because that potential boon could be Hairfoot, it could be Ornate Dagger, it could be any modifier or boon that's going to make the key more valuable or more desirable. We just got a gold key, we'll pick that up. You don't necessarily have to pick up or use gold keys. And keep in mind that if you do get gold keys throughout the course of a trial run, you are free to open chests yourself in each room as they come around, right? So you don't necessarily need to save water or keys for whoever is buying this key. As you can see right away, we got Ornate Dagger. Now, unless we absolutely need to use a shrine that greatly restores honor and burdens us with an affliction, we won't do it. And the reason why is that the random affliction that you get can sometimes be really bad, right? And so you don't want to gamble afflictions towards the start of a trial. You can gamble them towards the end once you get to the last floor or even the third floor, but before then it's not necessarily worth it. Unfortunately, with these hourglass rooms, sometimes turning that hourglass can be a little bit rough, but again, we just come through here, we blast, we throw spears, we just keep moving around. Really important with evasion and just in general, just keep throwing your spears, keep doing damage, and just keep killing stuff. Now, as you guys can see down here, I have lost a little bit of honor, but because we have honor resistance, I have lost significantly less honor resistance or honor than normal. Another thing that you can do is you can pick up relics as you go, such as earn relics and seal relics, because those are the ones that roll with % increased movement speed on them. And you can potentially every now and then identify a relic that is worth a decent amount of money. Other than that, like I said, early floors, early on, you want to go, or at least try to go towards sacred water fountains as well as merchants. Now, to show you guys the value of evasion, this is the value of evasion. Look at my honor. This is purely from evasion. If you were an energy shield build and you tried to do this, you would have already died. So evasion is very valuable. Not only does it help you avoid damage from hits, but you can literally just run through all this stuff. I have clips on my YouTube of me running around this with 95% evasion almost permanently, right? And so this is why, and as you can see, I'm doing it right here. And Wind Dancer as well, we have recently found out, is bugged, I believe. And what it does is, for some reason, Wind Dancer will negate all damage when it procs, right? So sometimes you'll get hit, and Wind Dancer will explode, but you won't necessarily take damage. Other than that, we just keep running. We go, we go, we go. You can kill stuff as you go to help avoid taking damage. But even these spikes on the floor, it's not too bad if you get hit by them. Like I said, you just keep running as long as you're honor capped or honor resistance capped, as well as overall resistance capped. You are chilling because through all of that right there, we lost barely any honor. We could fix that in a couple rooms with an honor shrine or anything, right? So we have our first merchant. There's not Hairfoot on here. There's not really anything good. Most of these, like max honor, isn't really going to do us anything. Monsters deal less damage. Could be nice if you're struggling, taking damage from monsters. But what we'll do is we'll buy Honor Challenger, which increases our honor restored, and then we'll restore some honor. We technically didn't have to actually restore any honor since we have an honor restoration shrine right here. This one will increase merchant prices, so we probably don't want to go there. We could go to this escape trial, rewards are unknown, but then if we needed an honor shrine later on in the trials, we might not know where it's at, right, which could also punish us. We definitely want to stay away from 50% reduced effect of your non-unique relics. The reason being that it completely devalues the fact that we're running quantity of relics, because we're going to go from 100% to like 50%, and at that point you're just devaluing your entire relic setup, right? So you want to avoid Forgotten Traditions. Sometimes you'll accidentally run into one of these, and you just have to go with it. You have to go with the flow. The test of time will sell regardless, right? But otherwise, you just go. So we have an escape trial, increased merchant prices, which we're probably going to be using more merchants as we go. I will just go down here to Golden Smoke because why not? We have an escape room. These escape rooms on the first 3 floors are relatively easy. At least on the first floor, they're all linear, meaning that you press one and it will always take you to the next one as long as you just keep running along on the map. But on the second and the third floor, they can be a bit more spread out, as well as the fourth floor. But the first floor is genuinely very, very easy. Overall, it's a very simple floor. And yeah, it's pretty easy to get to the boss on the first floor without taking any damage or struggling. It doesn't really get difficult until the third floor, and it doesn't actually really change until the first floor or the fourth floor. This first boss, Rattle Cage, he does a little explosion right off the bat. You want to avoid that. He will also slam the ground, so we avoid that. We keep running. Again, if you are farming these little earn and seal relics, you can wait. They will drop from this guy. Like, for example, we just got an earn relic. We can pick that up. There will always be a merchant between each floor, and for example, this merchant has Hairfoot. Another good boon is Sanguine Vial, because this does affect boss life. So we could take Sanguine Vial if we had enough Sacred Water, but because we're on the first floor, we will take Hairfoot. If this was the last floor, the third floor, before we would pull the relic key out and sell it, we'd probably want to take Sanguine Vial because you don't really need Hairfoot anymore. Now again, like I said, because this is your test of time that you're creating, you are free to open any of these chests. You don't necessarily need to leave keys for whoever is buying this. They will get keys themselves on the 4th floor. And so, like, for example, if I wanted to open this Arcanist cache for a chance at a Divine, I could do that. Or I could open this Gold Royal cache and get some jewels. And I would say that on average, if you are opening your chest every single run, you can expect to make around 1 Divine and jewels per run, which just increases the profit per hour. Unfortunately, these early room, chests don't necessarily give, or early floor chests don't necessarily give as many jewels. That being said, we are on the 2nd floor, and again, we have Iron Manacles at the top here, and we also have 50% reduced honor restored, and we also have you cannot restore honor removed after killing the boss. Having no armor does not matter at all, so we don't have to worry about that. We can just chill. Looks like we are selling a Breach Ring right now. 18 to 29 Fizz, 2 to 95 Lightning, Rarity. At any point in time, you can leave the trials. He's asking if I want to trade rings. No, thank you. No. I would not trade Tier 1 Lightning for Tier 2 with Evasion. Okay, I guess this is Tier 1, but still, no. Not to be rude or mean. But with that being said, we're going here, Chalice Trial. We will continue on, and we're going to push forward. As you can see, we're full honor, so we don't really need to worry about restoring it or anything. I'm going to have some long load screens here because I haven't done this floor in a while. That's just how my computer works. But again, we just keep running, and as you can see with the movement speed setup, as well as Hairfoot, we are really zooming. In fact, sometimes you zoom so fast it makes it annoying or difficult. But other than that, we just kill these monsters. You can pick anything up again that you want along the way. But typically for me, I just run past everything and I just keep going, right? Because the less you stop, the more profit you make per hour. The more you stop and pick up items and mess with stuff, the slower your run's going to be, the slower you're going to make these. So I just go. I go. I don't worry about too much. And that's pretty much the theme of this video, is the faster you go, the better. When I'm done recording this first part, I will go through and I will do a second Barya, and I will show you guys just how fast you can actually get these done, and how it really doesn't matter what happens along the way. No matter how much damage you take, it can always be fixed if you are running honor resistance and evasion. And yeah, it's really chill. So again, Chalice Room, we're going to kill the rares, start causing more rares to spawn. So we kill the first one, another rare spawns, and we look for the next rare. The faster you kill the rares, the faster you get out of the room. And if you're ever in a panic in an hourglass room, your best bet is to kill the rares. Especially on the last floor, the guys that are vase guys, like these guys on the ground, this guy right here where my mouse is, these guys are very deadly. If they get their attack off where they shoot beams up in the sky and it comes down on you, that will one-shot you like 99.9% of the time. You actually can't evade that attack. So it's the only deadly attack in the entire trials, as well as the giant skeletons on the final floor who fall down on top of you. Those are also very deadly. Sometimes you get very unlucky in these hourglass rooms as well, and it bugs out, and yeah, it doesn't work. No, sorry. I will not trade those rings. Not in a million years. I'm sorry. But anyways, we're going to keep going. Again, we have, choice of rooms. Doesn't really matter what we go to. It's all preference. Like I said, I prefer Chalice rooms, Gauntlet rooms personally, especially with an Evasion setup. But it's all going to depend on what you can do fastest and what you just enjoy doing at the end of the day. Always play what you are having fun doing, right? Don't do something that's going to take away from your enjoyment of playing the game. We zoom through this room. We continue on. We don't need honor. Even if we needed honor, probably not worth it unless we needed a lot of honor to gamble the Affliction. We keep going. We get another hourglass room, unfortunately. Now, I didn't actually check which Afflictions were ahead of me because it didn't matter because we only had one room to go to. So I'll check them when we're done with this room. But again, the only Afflictions that you really want to avoid are Forgotten Traditions. Iron Manacles are like the number 2 to avoid. And then you probably want to avoid Reduced Honor Restored, as well as Blunt Sword, Spiked Shell, and Feeble, because all of those will make your run a little bit more difficult if you make mistakes or if your character is not as geared. So if you're earlier in your gearing progression or your character as a whole, those are just Afflictions that you want to stay away from. But for someone buying the key, those Afflictions don't necessarily matter, right? So you can have pretty much any bad Affliction on a key The test of time will still sell no matter what. We keep going on. Merchant offers fewer choices. Probably don't want to take that for the simple reason that if we take reduced merchant choices, it allows us to buy less boons. Now, I should have mentioned that we already have a lot of good boons. We already have Ornate Dagger and Hairfoot, and so the merchant doesn't matter as much anymore. Once you get the boons that you want, you don't really have to worry too much about the merchant, other than maybe restoring honor from him, and potentially every now and then getting a good boon. It all depends, right? It depends on the state of the trial, but we have the big ones, the big boons already, so we're chilling. We don't need to restore honor. We can keep going. We'll go here, and obviously we can't see anymore. This is a really nice ritual room. Ritual rooms are honestly the best rooms. They're the hardest to take damage in, and you can get very lucky and get 1 ritual rooms or 3 ritual rooms where there's only 1 or 3 ritual caster portals, which is very nice. But again, we come here, we click the death crystal, we are in an escape room. And so again, if you ever get lost in these escape rooms, by the way, just follow the glowing light coming out of the death crystal, and it will tell you exactly where to go. So for example, I do have a mini map here, but if you get the affliction that removes your mini map and you get lost in that room in particular, you just follow the light and it will show you the way. We get another gold key. So we already spent 1 gold, 1 silver. We already have 2 silver, 2 gold. Little tip for this room: if you are a lightning spear build, you can wait for these guys to come down, the bosses, and then you can throw a lightning spear at them and run away. These guys will do an attack where they slam the ground, and when one of them dies, the other gets stronger. So as you can see, that's the attack where it slams the ground. You want to avoid that attack. Both of them will do the same attack. One of them does a fire attack and one does an ice attack. And then again, if you want to pick up these relics along the way, you can. And if you're lacking in sacred water, the bosses actually drop a lot of sacred water. So like right there, I just got 250 sacred water. And so we can pick that up and we can go to the merchant. There are some quality of life boons, such as traps deal 50% reduced damage, or traps are slower. These are both quality of life. Personally, I think that Lustrous Pearl is pretty annoying because sometimes the traps move too slow. But that being said, we have some other good boons up here. Sanguine Vial will make bosses and monsters have less life. We'll take that. We also have Fountain of Youth because, again, we are an evasion setup and we only have 2,700 honor. The value from Fountain of Youth is actually relatively high because every time we interact with a shrine, such as an honor shrine, a pledge, something like that, it's going to restore 200 honor, which is basically 10% of our honor additionally. Right, so it's really nice, it's really valuable, and pretty solid overall. So we'll head into this next room. I think we're on the 3rd floor right now. This is taking significantly longer than normal, obviously, because I'm taking the time to explain everything along the way. But with that being said, we continue on, get to the 3rd floor, and 3rd floor can get a little bit more challenging. The monsters and the traps and everything else deal a little bit more damage, but still not too much. You shouldn't really have to worry or be too concerned along the way. It's just going to take me a second to load in here, though. I'm not too sure why. This happens every now and then. Issue with pathofexile. This happens with maps, too, for me personally. But yeah, we are stuck in a loading screen. So we go to the trial map, and again, we're loading. We're slowly loading. One of these days, we'll be chilling, and we'll be vibing. This is potentially affecting our profit per hour. So, yeah. Now, as we go into this last floor, we'll just quickly glance. Pretty much all these afflictions don't mean anything. Shattered Shield is pointless. Worn Sandals can be annoying if you're being lazy like I do. I just run over traps 90% of the time and I take damage and I just fix it with honor shrines. So Worn Sandals can be annoying because it's not just enemies, it's also traps will slow you if they hit you. Same thing with Binding Chains. Yeah, and then we probably want to avoid gain a random affliction when we venerate a Marrakesh shrine, because those are, honor shrines and whatnot. So every time we use an honor shrine, we'll get an affliction. Probably want to avoid that as well. So the best course of action in a situation such as this is probably to go to the middle right here, avoid an affliction, and then take Binding Chains. We get an hourglass, unfortunately. Again, doesn't really matter if you can see the rooms or not, or what rooms you're doing. You're just trying to go fast. Some rooms will slow you down. But you don't want to spend too much time thinking about where you're going. You pretty much just want to click on rooms and go if you're making these keys. The only important thing is that you get to the 4th floor with full honor. you know, whoever's buying the key, especially at this point in the league, it doesn't really matter what affliction or boon has on the key, other than the fact that hopefully it doesn't have iron manacles. Those keys can be a little bit harder to sell. No one wants to deal with not having evasion. Most people who run trials run evasion setups, and it makes doing the last floor a little bit more painful, I guess, because you have to kind of take your time with it and avoid taking damage, because if you get hit and you don't really have energy shield or honor, it kind of screws you, and you can't really take damage anyways, for the simple reason that it will kill whoever is, you know, with you as a carry in the group. So we'll carry on. We'll hit this blood chalice. We will kill these monsters. And quick note about the blood chalices, they'll actually tell you where all the rares are in the room. If you click on it, it will, you know, as you guys saw, it'll shoot blood out of it, and that blood will tell you where all the rares are. Pretty much all the layouts on every single floor, they're not random. All the monster spawns are predetermined where they're going to be, especially for each layout. So once you do this enough and you memorize all the layouts, you can continue on. As you can see, we had blunt sword down there, so we're going to avoid that just to make this key a bit more sellable, as well as make our own lives easier. We definitely don't want to reduce damage of whoever's buying the key, and we don't want to reduce our own damage as well, right? So we continue on. We keep killing everything. We're chilling. We're having a good time. We're vibing. Most of the time when I'm doing this, I'm like on my phone or something at the same time. I'm playing with one hand, and I'm scrolling on social media or Facebook or something along those lines, because that's what evasion allows you to do, especially with honor resistance, especially with res cap. I can basically just run around and I never get hit unless it's by a trap. If I do get hit, I can always fix it with an honor shrine, and we're chilling. This is not something that you can do with less evasion. Once you start getting towards around 40% evasion, you start taking significantly more damage, right? We'll go up top up here. We'll click the blood chalice. Doesn't really matter again where we go. We're just trying to go fast. We're almost to the 4th floor already. Unfortunately, I can't hit a lightning spear to save my life. So, yeah, but we just kill these rares. And as you can see, I think we already had this layout once. But yeah, the layouts, again, they're random, but they're not random. It's random which layout you get throughout the course of the trials. But what's not random is the layouts themselves. So, you know, there's like 3 or 4 layouts of every single room on each floor. Like, you won't get a floor 3 layout on a floor 1, you know, run. We got really lucky there. There's the 1 ritual layout for the 2nd floor. We don't, or the 3rd floor, we don't actually need to restore honor. So we come here and we'll look at our last 2 couple rooms. Now, obviously, we can't see the rewards or anything, but ideally, you want to hit an honor shrine before the final boss. Another valuable boon that a lot of people overlook, you can use glowing orb and self-sacrifice life. Big shout out to members of my Discord. If you guys want to join my Discord, let me know. But if you have glowing orb, you can actually use life tap or some similar ability. A few members of my Discord, Gale and Zhao, figured this out. You can life tap to restore 50% of your honor if you ever need to, and proc glowing orb. Another thing you can look for is adrenaline vial. Adrenaline vial restores honor on entering a boss room, which is very, very helpful. We probably want to avoid merchant only has 1 choice and just take less max honor, because again, right, you know, maximum honor doesn't really matter. It's not going to do anything for you, especially with an evasion setup, because you don't have much honor to begin with. And we're probably going to want to buy some things from the merchant after the 3rd floor, just to make the key more sellable as well, to have more boons on it and make it look more appealing, right? Doesn't really matter. Like I said, at the end of the day, most people buying test of time, such as myself, the only thing I personally look for on a test of time when I buy it is I look for the quantity of relics. That's it. And I make sure that whoever I'm buying it from is an evasion character and not an energy shield character, because 90% of the time, like I said, people who have energy shield brick keys because they lose too much honor, and as an evasion character, that will kill me as soon as I enter the trial. And it also kills carries. If you're selling a carry, it kills them when they come in the trial as well. Unfortunately, we missed one of the death crystals here, right here. As you can see, I've been buying tested times for a while, so my familiarization and memory of these first 3 floors is a little bit rough. Yeah, so we grab here, we grab the gold key. This is the last boss. This boss can deal a lot of damage to you on accident. It does a tail swipe at the start of the fight, And so you either one-shot this or you kind of have to stand away. There's the tail swipe right there, just to show you guys. That's what can happen. You cannot evade that attack either. But as you can see, with the honor resistance and being res capped, it only did around 200 damage to me. And we can just talk to Babala right here and actually restore this honor. And as you can see, we also have Adrenaline Vial, and there is Glowing Orb as well. The next time you go below 20% of max life, restore all life, energy shield, and 50% of honor. It's essentially an Omen of Resurgence fit into a boon, but you can self-proc it using life tap or other life-draining abilities, such as a minion modifier. There's lots of different ways to proc that ability. Rather than click Test of Time here and go to the last floor, though, we are actually going to leave the trials through the portal, and you guys will notice that if we interact with the Relic Altar, we now have a Test of Time Barya. And these are what you sell on the trade website. I will run one more just to show you guys what it looks like. When you are kind of locked in and just going, we'll set a timer to get an idea of it. But I will list this for 2 divines just to show you guys that these do sell, or at least hopefully it sells. And in between your runs as well, you can, identify and go through relics and maybe any jewels you got. This jewel is bad. 49% increased defenses could be good. Percent defenses rolls up to 70%. But if you got high honor resistance or movement speed on that, it would be valuable, right? So some of these other ones, like 22% defenses, that's such a low roll. Quantity of keys doesn't really matter. Increased honor restored, pretty bad. Honor resistance, sacred water at the start of the trial, pretty bad. Max life, fountains have chance to grant double sacred water, pretty bad. I'm sure there are setups or variations of this that you could run with those, but not very ideal. This one is pretty all right. It is T1, or no, that's T2 quantity of relics drops. This is not very good. It's also honor restored, which can be nice, but not really necessary. So as you guys can see, pretty rare to find a good relic. I'm not going to lie, in all 640 trials I've ran, I've found like 10 good relics, but they do exist. But I also only run Test of Times, and I don't really pick the relics up that much anymore. So with that being said, that is part of what factors into it. But otherwise, we get right back into the trials, and we make another Test of Time. Again, if your character's strong enough to kill the boss, you can farm or create these on one character. That is what one of my viewers does, Zhao. One of my viewers, Zhao, really cool, really awesome guy. What he does is he makes these Test of Times with one character, a Whirling Slash build that I believe he got from Glitched. Correct me if I'm wrong, Zhao. But he uses Glitched Whirling Slash build to do the first 3 floors, and then he uses his Blood Mage to do the last floor and sell carries, right? So that is another option, especially if you don't want to buy Test of Times or go through the risk of buying a bricked Test of Time. Personally, though, like I said, I don't really care too much about Test of Times, what they have on them or anything like that. Now, as you can see, we're getting hit here. I'm not going to start the timer yet. Just to show you guys, we'll run around this. This is with 85% evasion, as you can see. But if I change to less evasion, this is like 50% evasion, we are now starting to die and take significant damage. So evasion does matter, and it matters a lot for the trials especially. I would argue that 90% evasion, and as you can see there, I had my non-evasion gear on, but I would argue that 90% evasion with honor res and around 3,000 max life, especially on a blood mage, is far, far superior than any amount of energy shield you can get on any build, especially blood mage, because you have life remnants, which gives you overheal. So I effectively have around 5,300 health with life remnant overheal, and then you factor in the fact that with percent defenses or evasion boosters such as percent defenses boon, I have over 90% evasion, and what that translates into is with block chance over 30,000 effective health. So it's very effective, very, very effective, very overlooked, and as a result, evasion gear is actually very cheap. So without further ado, we will run through here. As you can see, we're just looking to avoid blunt sword, etc. I'm going to start a timer. It is 2:49, about to turn 2:50, and we'll see how fast we can do these first 3 floors. We're basically just in a run. We start off with the chalice room. Boom, we kill everything. We fly. We go to the next chalice room. And sometimes these rare monsters in these chalice rooms, like that's a rare monster right there. These rock guys can be rare monsters, and so if you miss one or you can't find one, it's just a pile of rocks, and you got to run on top of it to spawn it. But otherwise, we'll just go, go, go. Again, I'm not really looking at what afflictions I'm getting or boons. As long as I don't get iron manacles, personally, I'm chilling. Everything else, especially with the current state of my build, doesn't matter. I do enough damage with all the afflictions on a key to be able to one-shot the last boss or any boss in the trials. So it's not really a big deal to me personally. But some people, again, you're going to want to do whatever you prefer. You might have to do a few of these before you get comfortable doing it and before you learn the rooms, and really it's just as simple as that. Now, we could restore honor here, but we have, you know, more honor shrines coming up, and chances are we're not going to lose too much more honor because, again, ritual rooms are really hard to take damage in. Ritual rooms with lightning spear, you can throw your lightning spear at the middle of the portal. When a monster is spawned, it will ricochet off that monster and hit the 2 casters on the side. So that is an option. Otherwise, we're just going to go, go, go. Increase merchant prices, probably not what we wanted. But we have enough, you know, Sacred Water, 526, to buy at least one boon, such as Ornate Dagger or Hairfoot. I would really prioritize Hairfoot early on, just because if you get it on the first floor. If you're on, like, the 3rd floor, you could probably take Ornate Dagger instead, because Hairfoot starts to lose value the later you are in the trials, for sure. Other than that, we come through here, we're chilling. Aya is messaging me for Breach Ring again. Chances are he is going to want to trade again, so I'm not too sure that I want to do that. We will continue on and kill all these monsters, fly through here, kill this rare, boom, trial complete. It's as simple as that. The first floor is very simple, especially the Chalice trials. It's just, you know, a matter of running around. You could also use Blink. Blink is a good option for the trials, for mobility and just getting around as a whole, and chilling and vibing. There's a lot of tech that can be used with Blink. You can blink over gaps to save time. Personally, I like dodge roll. Dodge roll can be used to avoid traps. So can Blink, but dodge roll gives you like 100% evasion during its effect, and so that has a lot of value to me just throughout the trials as a whole. You can also use dodge roll to dodge, you know, through monsters, and I mean, you can use Blink too, but personally I would stay away from Blink unless you have enough intelligence to really cap it out. As you can see, we just got a mirrored, you know, escape room. We already had that escape room once on this floor. Sometimes that'll happen, but more often than not, you will get more than one layout of, you know, an escape room or a ritual room when you're doing it, when you're running the trials. But anyways, boom, we kill Rattle Cage. As you can see, my damage isn't that great. I do have a weapon swap for more damage, so that's always, you know, an option. We'll talk to Balboa. We're only really looking to here, and right there we got Hairfoot and Ornate Dagger. I could turn around and grab, you know, I could turn around and grab Sacred Water from the boss, but I would lose time doing that. When the boss dies, normally, I really just, like, listen to hear for a Divine or something. Otherwise, I just keep going. We'll try to avoid Spike Shell here, but otherwise, we just keep going. And, again, yeah, sometimes if you have Deceptive Mirror, you might accidentally get taken to a room that you don't want to. That's fine. It is what it is. We live with it, we vibe, we chill, and we keep going. And as you can see, I'm a little bit lost here, but I'm just looking at the light coming out of the death crystals, and that will tell us exactly where to go in these escape rooms. As you can see on the 2nd floor, the escape rooms get a little bit more complicated in the sense that, yeah, they just get a little bit more complicated. Ritual trial is probably a little bit faster than Hourglass trial if we get lucky. This is the 3 ritual trial rooms, so we did get a little bit lucky. We're going to save some time going to the ritual over the Hourglass. And unfortunately, Lightning Spear is not very friendly if you don't have good aim. So one option that you can use rather than Lightning Spear is like a Spark build to Whirling Slash. Abilities like that where you don't necessarily lose time if you lack skills, such as myself, and miss your Lightning Spears and have to go back and re-kill stuff. Which actually happens to me frequently in escape rooms. You don't actually have to kill any of these monsters, but if you're less geared and you're struggling a little bit, you will find a lot more success in your trials runs by killing all the monsters in your way. A lot of them block your path, and killing them will prevent them from damaging you, right? It'll also grant a little bit of XP. If you're pre-level 95, you can get quite a bit of XP out of doing that. And as you can see, with as much movement speed as I have, for example, these landmines, I can just literally run over. I can run through all the traps with as much evasion as I have without worrying about taking damage. Boom, right here. We can just keep running through everything. Very, very solid setup. I forgot the layout for this room, though. I think we have to go right here. Pull this lever. Again, as you guys can see, I mean, Evasion is OP. I am literally running through traps. I do not have reduced trap damage dealt. Unfortunately, I delayed myself with Lightning Spear on that trap and got hit. Part of this is movement speed, but as you can see, we have no reduced trap damage taken. So this is just purely Evasion. Some people run Relic setups where they have 100% reduced trap damage taken. They prioritize Gauntlet rooms, and as a result, they don't take too much damage. We got increased honor restored, which is really nice in the event that we accidentally take damage, right? But otherwise, we just keep going. We keep flying through here and get an escape room. We click all the crystals, and we keep going. We keep going. Zooming. Again, maximum profit per hour. I like to try and go as fast as possible. I really do, because it just makes these a little bit more enjoyable. If you're constantly pushing yourself to do better. We are about 5 minutes in right now. Pledge of Coachi, if we had bad afflictions or boons or wanted to gamble maybe getting Hairfoot. Pledge of Coachi can pretty much give you anything, but again, there is a downside to every upside with the Pledge of Coachi. So sometimes it'll offer you Hairfoot or Ornate Dagger, but you'll get a random affliction, or sometimes it'll tell you the affliction you're getting. We will avoid Deceptive Mirror there because we can. We'll go to the Death Crystal Escape Room. Start clicking on these Death Crystals. You can go left to right in these rooms and then proceed to go north or up, however you want to define it. We can dodge roll through all these monsters if we want to and skip them. Like I said, you don't really have to kill them. It'll just make your life easier earlier on in particular. Otherwise, we keep clicking these. We keep going. I think we just got hit there, but it's fine. We keep running. We use the Sacred Water Fountain. We go. We click the Terracotta Sentinels. This is the end of the second floor. We'll close out of this breach ring sale because this guy is, you know, I don't know what he thinks he's up to, but breach ring's already listed for like half of its price. There's the Ice Guy's attack. He does a floor slam. You want to avoid that. Other than that, we could pick up Sacred Water if we wanted to, but we will just come here to the merchant. We'll buy reduced merchant prices, whatever. And again, if you had keys at this point, you could open caches if you really want to. Prime and superior gold caches have more items in them than just regular gold royal caches. The chance of a higher tier cache to spawn increases as you go throughout additional floors. So the last floor will always have prime caches, right? Again, we probably want to avoid Blunt Sword, which is at the top up there, so we'll just pick a random room. Unfortunately, we got an hourglass room. This will slow us down a little bit. And yeah, it is what it is. We just keep going. And yeah. This is one of the hourglass rooms. I always try to run around the room in a circle on hourglass rooms. It's really the only thing you can do. It helps you avoid damage the more you're moving, because A, you're dodging attacks just by moving, and then B, when an attack does hit you, you have like a 90% chance to evade and a 20% to block the attack. Fortunately, I couldn't really kill that rare. Hopefully we get lucky and the rares just keep spawning. Otherwise, you know, sometimes like last time it glitched out and you can just stand here for a minute permanently and, you know, lose a lot of time, which is why I don't really like doing these rooms. It doesn't really glitch out on the last floor, but the first like 3 floors, these glitch out pretty commonly, and you'll be stuck killing white monsters for a minute and a half, right? We'll just grab the keys. We'll go to this challenge trial. Doesn't really matter where we go. We're not really looking. We already know that Blunt Sword was at the very top, so as long as we don't go to the top, we are chilling. And as long as we don't get Iron Manacles, we're also chilling. We got a gold key. We can turn around for that. Again, the more gold keys it has is nice for whoever's buying the key, but they're not needed. There's plenty of gold keys on the final floor. You can open any gold or silver keys yourself along the way. We'll talk to Balboa. Lustrous Defenses is very nice for an evasion build. There's Iron Manacles in the middle. So we'll go down, we get a Death Crystal room, we keep going, and we click all these Death Crystals. I think we already had this one, or maybe we had it last trial that we did. Just keep running through here, click all these, and again, I'm wasting a lot of time by killing stuff. I just get a lot of satisfaction out of killing stuff. Feels like wasted XP and wasted potential mirrors if I don't kill stuff. With that being said, I don't think it's possible to see a mirror in here or anything along those lines, but you never know. Keep going. This guy is still messaging me for my rings. But again, I don't think he's serious. He wants to trade an Evasion ring for a double T1 double rarity Dex T1 cold res ring. Not too sure, how serious he is. Jungle Tiara, we will pick that up because it's tier 4. It could have 500 energy shield, T1 crit chance, and be worth 18 mirrors. You never know. We'll go to Ritual Trial. They're a bit faster. Again, if you get lucky. Sometimes you can get like 6 or 7 Ritual Portals. And if you have no mini-map, it can actually be really annoying because sometimes you miss out on them. We'll just keep going and go to this Chalice Trial here. Boom. Kill these bad boys. Kill this bad boy. And, yeah. Keep killing these guys. Boom. We're at the boss. It has literally been 10 minutes. So as I said, I can do around 6 of these an hour. Okay, I guess we have one more room for the boss. But we've done, it's only been about 10 minutes, right? Okay, this is an escape room, actually. I was just treating it like an hourglass room. Started killing stuff. But yeah, you can make around 6 of these an hour if you're quick with it. If you're not quick, you can easily make, 3 or 4 and still make 6 to 8 divines per hour minimum. Again, that's minimum divines per hour. You can easily make more divines by identifying and opening caches and jewels and all sorts of stuff. Where are we going right now? Right here. Okay, now we're at the boss. Close out of this ring sale. I told him no. I don't know why he keeps messaging me. And maybe he actually wants to buy it. We'll see. But yeah, we have a pledge here. But as you can see, this is why pledges can be rough sometimes. They will allow you to remove afflictions at random, or sometimes it'll just say remove an affliction, gain a boon, such as right here, gain a random minor affliction. There's always a downside. This open 1 reward chest is kind of nice sometimes, but not needed. The big thing is that you have to look at the affliction, and you don't really want to gamble too much with afflictions. Like this one removes hairfoot, so we'll just go to the boss because there's nothing really good. Pledges are really good though if you get like iron manacles on accident or blunt sword and you want a chance at removing it. It's pretty much your best bet. Again, Scorpion boss, kill this bad boy. He's gonna poison us, no big deal. We can buy honor resistance coming up here and pick up some of these relics along the way. Come into this last room, and again, we could open some of these caches if we wanted to. Now, because I'm going to be running these myself, I'll save the keys, but we can restore our honor and then exit the trials, and this will give us, again, another test of time. So hopefully you guys can see just how profitable this is, and hopefully you guys learned something along the way. This is, again, an entry method moneymaker in terms of Path of Exile 2. It is very profitable with a low investment cost. We rolled T3 Fire, T2 Cold, T1 Rarity, low energy shield roll, unfortunately. Then we got a good energy shield roll, but we would need flat ES on this to be good instead of reduced attribute requirements. Maybe we will put it on the side and do a random Chaos Gamba on it eventually. Come in here to the Relic Altar, pull this out. No one actually messaged me for my test of time, but that's probably just because it's 3 o'clock in the morning and no one's online to run them. They also don't really have 100% quantity. 100% would be nice. These are 80% movement speed, 83% quantity, 66% honor resistance, and then I try to get like Enchanted Urn to get myself over 100% quantity of relics. But if you guys have any questions or comments or concerns, definitely let me know down below in the comments. Otherwise, subscribe to my channel. It really helps me out. And give this video a thumbs up and a like. I would really appreciate it. And yeah, if you guys want to join my Discord as well, have questions to ask, you can join and ask them there. But have a wonderful day. If I left anything out of this video, I'll try to include it down below in the description or the comments as well. But again, entry level moneymaker. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully you can start making some profit. And again, just to summarize everything up, movement speed, quantity of relics dropped, honor resistance, run evasion, run block chance, at least for the first 3 floors. You don't necessarily need to do that for the last floor if you need more damage or if you're trying to kill the boss. But it will help you significantly reduce honor loss. As you guys saw, I ran over traps, I ran through fire, I ran through all the enemies, And look at me, still standing here. I had full honor in all of those runs. And when I did lose 10, 20, 100 honor, all you do is you go to an honor shrine and you restore it. Or you get adrenaline vial and you can restore it when you enter the boss. But yeah, thanks again for watching, guys. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And yeah, thanks for tuning in.